how are we doing? The last time I made a journal video, I told you about how I was gonna get started in this here journal. I have a confession. It's filled to the brim. It's about to be retired, and I kind of felt bad not having made a journal with me video for this journal at all. Truth of the matter is that I tried a couple of times when I first started this journal, but I just really wasn't feeling long form journaling content for a while. I don't know, just something about it didn't click with me, and I always got very frustrated while editing and just filming as well. And I made a lot of short form content on TikTok for this journal right here. My TikTok is linked in the description in case you want to go follow that. And I feel like through that I learned a lot, and lately I've kind of been craving making longer form journaling content again as well. And considering through being sick and the heat wave in June, I kind of fell behind on journaling a little bit. So I thought before officially retiring this one, I would do a journal with me video on here. So what we're doing today is making some of just like the final spreads that I still needed to do for June. So some book reviews, some other regular stuff that just happened this month that I had to chronicle, and then also just like my regular like wrap-up stuff for each month. And then I also thought it would be fun, because we're halfway through 2026, to do a bit of a mid-year check-in on my books, movies, and shows. And I was originally also gonna do music, but while making these pages I totally forgot, and ended up being a good thing because I ran out of room in my journal. And yeah, this way I still got to chronicle making the last couple of pages for this year journal, which I love so much. And that's what you're getting to see today. I will say I have made this entire video already. I made the pages, I filmed the footage, I edited the footage, I did the voiceover, and I am so glad I kind of took a break from the long form, because I really love making this video, and I feel like I kind of got the inspiration for it again. So hopefully for my next journal we will see a couple of more journal with me throughout. My only issue is always that I kind of need a time where I kind of have a lot to do into one video, you know. I don't always have that in a month, so I don't know how regular it will be, but that's a thing I kind of want to do more so. And also on TikTok I stopped doing voiceovers. I just enjoy doing more so with like music in the background, so it's been a really long time since I did the voiceover, so you know, give me grace because I've always been really bad at it, and hopefully it's not that bad. I just listened to it back and I think it's okay. I've done worse, so hopefully you think the same, but I don't know. And yeah, let's say goodbye to the journal together with the final pages I made in it. And of course I will be doing a full flip through of this later this month. This is a chunker of a journal though, so it will be a lot, and I feel like I grew a lot about making this journal, so it kind of feels a bit bittersweet saying goodbye to it. So I'm very glad that I get to do a little commemorative video for it in a way. But yeah, anyway, let's just get into making these spreads. I haven't done a voiceover in ages, so I'm a bit nervous for this, but I am starting off this journal with me video with a review page for The Dixon Rules by Al Kennedy. This is the second book in the Campus Diaries series, which is a spin-off of the Off Campus series. But yeah, I love this book so much, and it took me by so much of a surprise that I wanted to do a review page for it, and that's what I'm doing right here. I put some washi tape at the top and the bottom that kind of fit a little bit the colors of the cover that I'm now sticking down as well. And then because I felt like I didn't have enough like purple on this page compared to the book cover, I decided to write out the title with a purple acrylic marker. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm trying to copy the font a little bit on the book cover, and it isn't like that complicated of a font. So there we go. So it's a very thin nib, so I kind of just made the letters a bit thicker. And then I also of course wrote down the author's name as well as my star rating, which is a 5-star, obviously. And yeah, then I'm putting that to the side. I'm putting down some stickers. These are stickers from the Kriya Shake sticker book that I felt like fit the vibe of the book and like reference different things within the book. Like for example, this fish, the main character has a fish. And yeah, now I'm sticking down the little titles things that I made as well on here. And yeah, I decided to put the star rating and the author at the bottom and then the title at the top. I already placed it, so I knew where it would go and how it would fit, so that's why you see it like this. And then I decided to try something new and write my review down in my acrylic marker because it's at such a thin nib. I will say I don't love how this turned out, but hey, you live and you learn, and that's how what journaling does. But that is everything for this page in particular. So now I'm moving on to my next page, which is a page for the rest of the MLC. So I'm starting off cutting out a half circle and then doing these green strips that will then form a border around the page. You will see it as it's happening, but yeah, I'm just ripping up the paper, and then I'm also using a paper cutter for like the straighter lines. And then now I am actually gluing down the pieces of paper to again make a border around the page, just because I thought that would look cool. I don't know, there's just an idea I had in my head. So there we go. Also, the reason why you can see my book card behind me even though I'm not in my room is because I use the bottom shelf of my book card now as a stationery place, so I rolled it over to the living room to do this. So yeah, here I am already moving on. I put down the little sun, and now I'm using a gold acrylic marker to write down the title. I'm also putting down the book cover, and then I also had the star rating and author name, but I feel like you didn't really see it that well, so I went over it within black. And again, I tried to copy the font of the title from the book cover, and then I'm already writing down my book review. As I said, I'm not practicing this voiceover shit, I apologize, but I'm just doing that with a black pen. And yeah, end result will be at the end of the video. And I felt like these borders looked a bit empty and off, so I took out a green acrylic marker that just like a tiny bit lighter than the page, and I drew like a little vine design on it that reminded me of kind of the book is split into parts, and kind of like the pages for that have a similar design on them. So I kind of let myself be inspired by that, and I actually really like it. It's something different than what I typically do, but I think it looked great. Like I said, end result at the end of the video. And then here I am making a page for my cozy fantasy blog. I started doing this in this like I believe just like in April or something, where I just did like do little recaps for all of the reading vlogs that I do to just help chronicle them. So I just write down the books that I read for the video, the star rating for each book, the concept of the video, my average rating, and then kind of like the conclusion I left the video with. And that's what I'm doing here, of course, for my Can I Be a Cozy Fantasy Girly. So go watch a reading vlog if you want. And then on my second channel, I am currently ranking all Cat3 albums, doing one album a month. And this month I did Roller Disco, so I also like keeping that tier list ranking in my journal. So that's what I am doing right here, writing it down, and also then rank the albums as well in the tier list, not just the songs. So here I'm writing down what, you know, tier the album as a whole goes in, and I'm just, I don't know, this is like a layout I do for all of these albums, and now I'm just coloring all of the like tier names with white color, if that makes sense. And then we're moving on to my new music page, and this is just basically my straight to the playlist videos, but then in written form, because I don't know, for June, like all of my titles I kind of made were with a drop shadow, kind of kept it simple, so I did the same for this. And then what I do is write out the title of the song as well as the artist, and then write down like in 1 or 2 sentences just very quickly what I thought of the song, and then put a green check mark if that song went straight to my playlist, and a red cross if not. And if you want to know more of my thoughts on these songs, again, you can watch my straight to the playlist video, of course. It's right on my challenge. It's right up on my channel. Sorry, for some reason my mouth wasn't cooperating. If you want to watch that, and here I'm doing the little marks. And then we're moving on to the next page already, this time for my 24-hour reading vlog that I did, reading June releases. Throughout the time that I was filming this, I kept track of all my timings and like when I finished books and everything on this sheet of paper, so I just glued that in, very simple. And then I am making kind of like a same page like I did for the cozy fantasy vlog. For this, we're just listing down all of the books that I read, the concept of the video, my average rating for the video, and then the conclusion, which for this, the conclusion is I failed because I only made it to 18 hours, and I'm not doing a 24-hour readathon in my life ever again. You can kill me if you ever see me do one again, because it generally just burns me out so much, and I really noticed that this time around. Then, next up, we're doing my June recap page, and I'm making a Dutch door for this one, so that's the first thing I'm doing. And for June, my theme was purple, but also with a hint of Pride because it's Pride month, obviously. And I started doing these recap pages in May, so I thought this is generally like the first one where I've gathered stuff for a whole month to do it, so that's fun. So I put the rainbow washi at the top of the bottom, and then I put this like purple kind of holographic-y kind of washi tape, as well as this purple glittery one to each of the sides, left and right, and I did that on both sides of the digital drawer. And then on one side I am putting down pictures and like memories from the month, and on the other side it's gonna be like my favorites of the month, so my Receiptify, which is a list of like your most listened to songs in the month that is in a form of a receipt, and this is the title, as well as my favorite books, movies, and shows that I watched. And here I ran out of rainbow washi. This is the first time since I really started journaling again that I've run out of a washi tape, which was something, let me tell you. And luckily enough, it wasn't enough to go from left to right fully on a page, but because I am covering the sides anyway with the purple washi, it ended up working out for me, which thank God, because I don't know what else I would have done if there wasn't enough room, like enough washi tape left over to like fill the complete bottom of it, if that makes sense. So yeah, anyway, just adding on some more washi, and then here I am writing down June in these stickers, very big bold block letters, and on the other side I'm putting the word recap in the same letter stickers. These are from the Action, if I don't know if they still have them, but there you go. And then on the other side I'm writing down favorites in this like purple and teal smaller font, because it's kind of more like a subheader, because the June recap is like the big thing. And yeah, again from the same sticker book. And then now I am just gluing down a bunch of pictures. I figured out how I wanted them placed off camera, because that's just a lot of fiddling around that you don't want to see. But yeah, I'm just gluing them all down right now. I don't really know what else to say. I got a mini camera towards the end of May, which is kind of what inspired me to do these recap pages, because it ends up having me take more pictures while I'm doing stuff. So that is what this page is as well. A lot of pictures from my mini camera, and then also just other pictures from my phone. And yeah, I'm just adding in some stickers to like fill up some empty space, to add some decorations. I went with 2 sun stickers because it got really fucking hot in June where I live, so I wanted that represented. And then here I'm doing my favorite sides. I'm doing the big Receiptify on one side, and then with smaller book covers and movie posters and show posters on the other side. I just happen to have 6 this month, so that fit perfectly. I kind of don't really look at how much I have. I just do it. And yeah, that's it. All ready for the recap page. Let's do my wrap up. I did the same title with this as I did the new music page, in case you're curious. I still do my wrap up the same way I've done since ever. I feel like I've shown how I do my wrap up in a couple of journal with me now. For some reason I always think of doing a journal with me at the end of the month, so there we go. But yeah, I'm just starting off with putting down all of the pictures. So these are the posters and book covers, obviously, and this is in the order that everything happened in a month, so it's like books, movies, shows, all kind of intermingled. And yeah, there we go. I'm just sticking everything down, not everything goes as smoothly, but because I will be cutting out a lot of this progress, I thought I'd show you every single poster putting down, so you can see everything that I read and watched this month. If you want to know more of my thoughts on both of these things, you can watch my reading wrap up as well as my everything I watched in June. Those 2 videos should have gone up already, so you'll find my thoughts on all shows, movie, books in there, obviously. And yeah, I'm still putting shit down. And generally, because I was sick for quite a big chunk of June, and first thought that I wouldn't really have that much for this month's wrap up, but I ended up reading like quite a lot towards the end of the month, so I ended up having quite a bit. And yeah, I'm sticking down the last couple of things. This is in fact the last picture. It's only 1 picture on the page. I kind of hate when that happens, but oh well. And yeah, I'm just showing you quickly one thing that I always do in my wrap up, and that's I write down the title of the movie in this case, with the release year for the movie, and then the season for the show, and the author for the book, obviously. And then I also put a little mark with it to rewatch, and I write down my star rating underneath the cover or like poster, and then I write down just a little blurb of my thoughts, and then I just went in to highlight all of the titles just so it pops a bit more. I do use 2 different colors of pen, but I do always feel like the black kind of blends in the big wall of text if you don't highlight it, and this just helps make it pop. And again, I'm just showing it all so you can just see how this page looks filled in, because I know all of the covers just in a row just looks very empty, and I always think it's a pain in the ass to make these spreads, but I do think they turn out well. And that's everything for June. So now I'm moving in to kind of the halfway mark check-in pages, starting off with every 5-star I've read so far this year. At the end of the year, I just like making a page of like my favorite books every year, but I only have 12 5-stars this year so far with 2 rereads, so I thought it would be more fun to just list them all out rather than actually, you know, pick my favorites on that. And I decided to write them out and not print them out because I felt like it. And then I put some washi tape at the bottom to fill empty space, obviously. And now this is the craziest part of this whole thing, is that I am drawing out my own Storygraph stats. No, last year for the end of the year I printed them out like a normal person. I didn't do that this time around though, because Storygraph always has the black background and I think that looks a bit boring and I wanted to do something more colorful. I am horrible at drawing graphs though. I already hated doing it in school, and I promised myself I wouldn't do it outside of a math class ever again, but here I am. And yeah, pie charts, I'm the worst at. I'm not gonna lie, I traced these from my computer, so I at least roughly have this right. But yeah, I'm just drawing out one on camera for you because the other two are basically the same thing and that would be boring. So yeah, I just picked these couple of acrylic markers that I drew them out with, and then I wrote the percentages on them and of course what they stood for. And then I have these bar graphs that I also drew, which are not perfect. Honestly, if you're a mathematician, don't look at this because a lot of these are so off. I know, that's why I wrote down next to them also just the amount that they are supposed to represent, so you know, at least the info is useful, you know. And there we go, this is the star rating graph I am drawing out right now, so I'm putting those at the bottom. And yeah, I will say I am glad I did this because I do think it looks cute. Did I think this was a pain in the ass and will I probably ever do it again? Probably not, but hey, don't quote me on that because I already just very on a whim decided to do it this way. And this is the genre graph, which is the most involved. So I got out a lot of me making this one because it's a lot. And here I was very nervous because all of a sudden there was like a huge jump in numbers and I thought I was gonna get a 1, but I didn't. So yay me. At least, you know, an actual mathematician who measures things out with a ruler and everything would maybe think I got things wrong, but you know, that's not what it is. It's just to look cute in my journal, okay? So here I am just adding more info to the graph, and then I'm writing down my title on the page already. And yeah, I did the different graphs on a different piece of paper, so if things went wrong, you know, I could still correct myself. It wasn't like on my actual you know, journal. I'm starting off with just some written out stats, like my average rating, the amount of books read, the amount of pages. Also put down my most read authors and my most read tropes, which is not something Storygraph keeps track of, but it does keep track of your tags, and I use my tags for tropes with romance books. So there we go. And yeah, I am putting down every single graph. As you can see, these like pie graphs aren't all pretty. And yeah, moving on to the next halfway year wrap up page, and that is my 2026 shows ranked so far, obviously. And these are all the shows that had their final episode release in 2026 and my ranking of them. And then I also am adding to the bottom of that the movies ranked so far for 2026, again 2026 releases. And yeah, there aren't a lot of them, so I just squeezed them at the bottom of the shows page. And yeah, here I am writing that all down with a red acrylic marker, of course, and then just my black pen for the titles. And again, add a bit of empty room at the bottom, so I put washi tape on it yet again. And yes, I forgot to include my favorite songs of the year so far. I hate myself for that. But I also ran out of room in my journal, so it doesn't matter. I am on the final page of the journal. I'm just writing out a like goodbye quote, which is "Don't smile because it happened, baby. Cry because it's over. I'm gonna make you miss me," I believe it is, from the song "Don't Smile" by Sabrina Carpenter. It's correctly on the page. I don't know if I quoted it correctly, but I put the smile in yellow and then the cry in blue. And I don't love how this turned out, but hey, it's a goodbye. Okay, so let's do a flip of everything that I made today. Starting off with the review page for the Dixon Wool. I'm not sure about the writing and acrylic marker. I feel like I should have done this in pen, but for the rest, I do think this looks cute. And we have Dress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson review page. Like, you can't really tell on camera, but the gold does shine in the sunlight, and I'm glad I added the vines to these sides because I do think it makes it look a bit more complete. So there we go. Then we have my cozy fantasy vlog recap, my ranking of the Catherine Holodisco album, my thoughts on new music. I'm not saying a lot about these because I feel like these pages are pretty simple. My 24-hour readathon, which I failed at. And then we get to my June recap, and I'm literally obsessed with this page. They look so well. Obviously, I'm covering up all the pictures of my family, so you're not seeing a whole lot of it. But I think this looks so cute. I love it, and I feel like it perfectly kind of encapsulates my month, if that makes sense. So I love it. Thumbs up. And then on the other side of the Dutch door, we of course have my favorites. So just from I did mark if it's a rewatch, and then of course you have my Receptify on this side. I kept things a bit more simple because the actual like memory side is like a lot, so I thought the contrast would look great. And then we have my wrap up. This is very standard, like always. It's always a pain in the ass to do because it's just so much, but I do always like including it. And of course, it had to do my least favorite thing of ending on only one book. And then we get into the like wrapping up this half of the year with all my 5-star reads so far in the year. I just listed them. I debated for a while if I wanted to print out the covers or just list them, but I do really like how this turned out, and then it's a little bit of washi tape to make the bottom look a little bit less empty. Then we have my reading stats. I'm actually kind of glad I decided to draw them out. It looks messy, but I think it also looks cute. So there we go. And then we have my seasons and movies ranked over the year so far. I'm glad I could combine this in a spread because otherwise I would run out of pages. But yeah, there we go. And again, brought in the washi here to decorate. And I thought these like have hearts in them, same as this one. It's very faint, and I thought that would be perfect, obviously, for these pages. And then I ended things with a quote page, and I don't love how this turned out, but who gives a fuck? It's over. And yeah, that's this journal.